Hello and welcome to the Spandex and Wine podcast. I'm your host, Robin Hackney, and I'm so happy that you're here. This podcast is a place for conversations about balancing a healthy lifestyle and being happy. More specifically, happy hour. Together, we'll explore all things wellness and wine. I hope you learn a little, laugh a lot, and along the way, know you're not alone on this balanced wellness journey. Ready to jump in? Pour something in your glass that makes you happy because it's time for Spandex and Wine. Hello and welcome to the Spandex and Wine podcast. I'm your host, Robin Hackney. So we have been touring different businesses here in the Kansas City area for the podcast, and it has been so much fun. Our third stop was extra special for me because it was my sister, Lori Gardner, who welcomed us at her amazing establishment. Homestead Kitchen Bakery is located in Baldwin City, Kansas, and offers not just amazing food, including breakfast items, lunch, dinner, but the best donuts, cookies, granola. I couldn't possibly list it all. But while the food is exceptional, it is the staff she has put together combined with the loyal customers that make a unique atmosphere. Once you walk in, you'll feel at home with a small town community. Growing up, Lori was always so creative with the right amount of determination to make things happen. I love her entrepreneurial spirit, and I hope you enjoy this episode with more about her, the cafe, and hear from a handful of her customers. Pour a cup of joe, grab a cookie, let's get started. Well, hello, sister. Always good to see you.
Hello, good to see you.
Yeah, I wanted to say thank you so much for allowing the podcast to come to Homestead. It was a wonderful day, and I really appreciate you opening the doors for us.
Well, you are welcome. We had a good time. My customers loved having you there. So I think it's something we could maybe do again in the future.
Yeah, that would be great. And, you know, a couple of your customers were brave enough to come talk to me, and I am including them on this episode as well. But for the listeners, I mean, I know your story. I've known you all of my life, not all of your life, 2 years short. But just tell the listeners about your story, how you got started with this.
Well, let's see, we adopted a bunch of kids at once. And so I was having to really start cooking and baking and stuff at home a lot more than I ever had before. And so in doing that, I started posting things on Facebook, just for fun, things I had made. I got a grain mill and started doing some, really healthy things as well. And anyway, people just started saying, well, can I buy that? Can I buy that? And so of course, I was, always an entrepreneur. So I'm like, yeah, I'll sell it to you. And so long story short, I was selling to just a bunch of moms out of my Suburban. I would meet them at Walmart and just sell things out the back of my Suburban. Very shady. And then I was like, okay, well, we got to funnel all this through one way. And so then I started doing the farmer's market. Well, that kind of exploded, and it was just a lot. And I'm like, I got to have a storefront if this is gonna continue. So long story short, I got my place in Baldwin City, and here we are, almost 8 years later.
That's awesome. I love it. I love that for you. I love to watch your success and your progress. And I mean, you make amazing food, no doubt about it. But I think that we would both agree that it has to be a combination of several things: the right people, the right employees, the right customers, and the community.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, absolutely. I mean, it all goes together. You can be a fabulous cook, and if you don't have good help, or you have really poor execution and poor customer service, it's just not going to take off, especially these days. I mean, people are, people are stretching their money, and we don't take that for granted, that if they choose to dine with us, we're going to give them the best of us. And so we really work hard to provide an excellent experience, when they come into our place. So, yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. And every person that I talked to, whether they decided to be on the podcast or not, everyone, one of the things that they said was that you have the right people. And in talking to some of your people, I just love that you're like the second mom to them, and you're teaching these young ladies. I don't know if you have, I guess, maybe I saw a couple young men. I can't remember now, but you're such a good role model for them as well.
Mm. Well, that has always been my goal. We do have a couple of guys that work for us, but it's mostly women. Um, but it has been always important to me to teach them a good work ethic and learn to be efficient and create a culture that is kind and respectful. I don't allow any cussing. I don't allow any, if we have an issue with each other, we resolve it right away and we move on. We do not have drama. I don't put up with it. Everybody looks out for each other. I don't have a problem if somebody's sick, somebody else is more than happy to come in and fill in their spot. We just are very blessed. I don't hire very often because the turnover rate in my place is not very high. And then when people do leave, it's only because they're ready to, move on to a bigger chapter in their lives because they've graduated college or whatever. So yeah, we have a really, really good team.
Yeah, you do. And I bet you're really proud when you see that person move on to that next bigger thing for them.
Yeah.
That has to be a proud moment for you.
Yeah, absolutely.
And I know one of the things that I like to do in my fitness classes, I've worked hard to create this community feel, and you definitely have that. And I know that you're in a small town, but there's something, you have to go that extra step. And I feel like your customers respect each other. Of course, your
Mhm.
workers. But when you walk in, you can tell that it's a nice community feel.
Oh, I love that. That's great. And we do have a wonderful community. Um, it it takes, I think, when you open a business, no matter what it is, but especially a restaurant, because the failure rate of restaurants is extremely high. And so if the community doesn't support you and kind of stick with you, even when you're just kind of finding your way, it's just not going to last. And our community really stuck with us. They stuck with us through the beginning when it was kind of a little rough, and then COVID, and all that. We've just continued to thrive because we have an amazing community that supports us.
Yeah. And what advice would you give to that entrepreneur that's out there, whether they're young or it's someone that's starting a second career and they're still in the back of their suburban or the farmer's market, but they're ready to
Mhm.
take that next step? What would you recommend?
I think you have to learn everything you can possibly learn, whether it's through podcasts. And quite honestly, I learned a ton of what I've learned about the restaurant world through restaurant podcasts. So, there's good content out there of whatever field you're looking at, and reading everything you can. I mean, I don't have my college degree. I learned it, on the streets. and,
Yeah.
and I just have this, when I hear something or I'm reading something or I'm listening to something, I'm just like, oh yeah, I could use that, or I could take that information and make it something, it inspires me, or it just helps me. I don't know. I just try to absorb everything and then see how it can fit into my business model, or at least improve myself, all the things. You have to be a
Yeah.
great leader. You have to be a great learner. You always have to be learning. You have to listen to people. You have to listen to your employees, your customers. That doesn't mean you're going to take everything they say and do it, but it just a lot of respect for your employees and your customers goes a whole long way. And it can teach you a ton of things.
Yeah. Yeah. No, I 100% agree. And that's how I started this podcast, because I took a course, a 1 week course, and I thought I'm going to learn something that I can apply to my business or to myself. And then I thought, well, why wouldn't I do this? I may as well.
Right.
So I told you that I was going to put on a couple snippets with some of your customers. But before I move on to that part of the episode, I just wondered if there's anything that you would like to tell your customers, maybe your employees, or just the city.
Um, I guess just how grateful I am, and makes me
Yeah.
cry.
No, that's good. That's
um,
good.
um, just just everything working together just makes
Yeah.
it happen. It's not me, I lead the show, but I can be gone from there for a week or it's my day off today and I don't have to worry about things going on, because I know everything will flow really well. And that's just, I owe all that to my customers and to my employees. I try to put my employees even before my customers, because if I have great employees, it's going to pour out onto my customers and everything will take care of itself if you do it that way. So, I guess I'm just very grateful.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, I can tell you that that gratitude is mutual after speaking to your employees and your customers. So
It's very nice.
congratulations on your success.
Thank you very much.
All right. Thanks for being on.
All right. Thank you very much.
Thanks, Lori. The day we were there, Lori pointed out a table of regulars, so I pulled a few of them aside to get the scoop on why they keep coming back to Homestead and to find out what they love to order when they come in, which sounds like it's fairly frequently. You gotta love those regulars. You're gonna hear from married couple Sandy and Mike, and then Scott and Becky. And Becky used to live in Baldwin, that still makes the drive down to enjoy all of the delicious food and the atmosphere. It was a busy day when we were in, so you're gonna hear lots of background noise. Here we go. Hey, Sandy, thanks for being here and being willing to be on the podcast. I hear that you're a regular, and I want to know what keeps you coming back.
Thank you. You're welcome. I'm very happy to be here this morning. We come in about every Saturday. My husband, Mike, likes to tease Lucy, and usually always gets biscuits and gravy or the pancakes because he really likes them also.
Okay.
And I love the breakfast sandwiches. The regular one is really great with sausage. And they have a really good new breakfast sandwich that has hollandaise sauce, and it's really good too. And my friends meet here. We come in on Tuesdays for lunch, and they always have pizza on Tuesdays, and it's really good too. I can get ranch for the base filling on it. And the help here is really super good. They're so friendly. These girls are just wonderful.
That's awesome. That's awesome. I know it's a favorite spot for locals here, and so I was happy when I saw your table filled up and heard that you guys are here so often, because I'm kind of partial. I kind of like my sister.
Oh, yes, and we like her too. And all the girls here, they're all so super sweet, and like I said, they go out of their way to help you, get you what you want. You want something special, Lori and the girls, they will always... Yeah. They'll always help me out a little bit when there's something they know I don't like, and they'll take it off. They won't put it on. They'll give me something else.
Oh, that's awesome. Well, thank you, Sandy. Thanks for being willing to talk to me.
You're welcome. Thank you.
Hey, Mike, thanks so much to be willing to be on the podcast today. I know that Lori said that you're a regular. You're here almost every Saturday and almost every day, she said. I want to know what keeps you coming back to Homestead.
The food is always good. I like the fact that Lori uses fresh and local food ingredients in her food, and the girls, I always give them a hard time, so I enjoy doing that.
Hopefully not too hard of a time.
Not too.
It's good to be a little ornery. So what is your go-to meal?
I don't know if I have a go-to.
Okay. What's good here? What would you recommend?
I get the biscuits and gravy quite a bit, the blueberry pancakes.
Nice.
And then for lunch, a lot of times I'll get one of the specials.
Okay. I know she runs daily specials, so that's awesome. Okay, but there's a lot of desserts and donuts and muffins and treats and scones. If you had to choose one, what would you choose? I know it's hard to choose one.
Yeah, that's a hard one. I like those cinnamon rolls with the pecans on top.
Oh, yum.
Yeah.
All right. That's awesome. Well, thank you, Mike, for being here.
You're welcome.
Thank you. Hey, Scott, thanks so much for being here and being willing to be on the podcast. I know that you're a regular at Homestead, and I want to know what you typically order. Like, what do you love here?
The pig in a blanket, and I like the people here. They're nice to me, and I like the town. And everybody knows me because I'm regular here.
Yeah. No, that's great. I love that you came in, and I love that you were willing to be on the podcast. It is such a good small town community feel here. So I'm sure that's one thing that draws you. Hey, Becky, thanks so much for being willing to be on the podcast. I appreciate you being here. It's so funny because your name's Becky and I have a friend named Becca in Utah, and you look so much like her, but that's beside the point. So I want to know what keeps you coming back to Homestead?
I love the atmosphere at Homestead. It's just the small hometown feel. I used to live down here in Baldwin, and then I moved to Lawrence. And a lot of the restaurants and things in Lawrence, they're just, more commercialized. You just get in and get out, and the service isn't the same. So when we come down here, we make it a point to come down here. We love breakfast. And then I also love to come down around lunchtime. Is it the black bean burger? Burger with the homemade guacamole.
Oh, yum.
That's one of my very favorites. My husband loves the savory roll. The chicken salad is amazing. So there's just so many reasons that we love to come down here. And I just love coming back down to Baldwin because of the small town. We like to walk at Baker. And we love coming to Homestead.
Yeah,
and that's what it's about. And when I lived down here, it's been years ago. And I came in and I met you in the beginning when you first started here. And here's a suggestion. I haven't seen it since. I sat outside on the front patio and had coffee, and it was a lemon blueberry croissant, something that you had created. Yeah, so you might create it again because it was wonderful.
That's awesome. All right. Well, thank you so much for being here.
You're welcome. Thank you.
A big thank you to Sandy, Mike, Scott, and Becky for chatting with me that day. I can tell you that Lori appreciates all of you as much as you appreciate her. And I know it's easy to go to chain restaurants and big box stores, but supporting a small business means the world to that business owner. I can tell you that firsthand. Mike mentioned Lori using fresh ingredients from other local businesses, and I'm so glad that he did. I can assure you that you'll be getting only the best when you visit Homestead. Okay, so I've mentioned before in previous episodes that I have 4 sisters, Lori being one of them. We don't see each other near enough, but we were all present there that day, which is just like amazing in itself. Next, you'll hear from each sister plus my mom and her friend Jackie. Hey ladies, thanks so much for being here. It is very rare that all 5 sisters are together. And so it's super cool that you guys are all here supporting both me and Lori. So thank you. So I have Kendall, Dana, Carrie with me. Those are my sisters. And Lori is the one that owns Homestead. You heard from her earlier in the podcast. I want to know, did any of you guess that Lori would have a place like this growing up?
This is Kendall. No, I remember when she started this in her garage, I was like, wow, this is interesting. And she was like milling her own stuff. All of this was like, wow, very, prairie life, like, surprising. But does it surprise me that she has grown this and she is such, so business minded and so successful? No. She has a drive, and clearly extremely successful. I've got my big box of goodies that I'm taking home in there. So no, just super proud of her.
Yeah, that's cool. And you guys don't know as listeners, but Lori used to do hair, and I know Dana would go in for some waxings and her hair too. So is this surprising to you?
Yes and no. I remember as a kid growing up, we had like a barber's chair in the basement, and all the sisters would take turns and try to fix hair. And so that was sort of a natural thing. She was always very good at it. She always took it very seriously, whether it was in her house or in her shop, that she partnered with our dad on, which was very cool. She's a middle child. She's very strong-willed. She always has been.
True that.
And so, she kind of opened a lot of this right before the pandemic. It seems like her second restaurant right before the pandemic. And she's strong. She's a strong person, and she doesn't take no for an answer. And if you tell her no, she's going to make double sure that she gets things done. So kudos to her. She's done a great job, and we're so proud of her.
Yeah. Carrie, I'm going to switch it up on you. I want to know what you ate today that you enjoyed. And then, again, I'll ask you the same question. Like, did you ever see this in Lori?
Well, I ate the quiche and the protein balls.
I love the protein balls.
Oh my gosh, love it. I mean, I'm glad I only got 3 and I had to stop there.
You're set for the day then.
I'm set for the day. And I am super proud of her. This is just phenomenal. You need to come out and see this place and eat. And I'm so happy for her.
Yeah.
So just very super proud.
Awesome. Well, thank you, ladies, for supporting both of us.
Absolutely.
Thank you. And we're so proud of our sister Robin, too.
Very proud of Robin. Love you both. Love you.
Thanks, ladies. Well, hello. I have my mother here and her friend Jackie, so I'm super excited to have them. I know that they're very supportive of Lori and her business, and I want to know, when you guys come in, what is your go-to? So here's my mom.
I love her biscuits and gravy, and that's what I get every single time. But
Okay, I've heard that, yeah.
Today I tried her quiche, and it is so good.
Yeah,
So-
the crust was so flaky. I'm glad that you shared a piece with me. It was delicious.
Yes, I ate everybody's crust.
Jackie, how about you?
I have a new favorite, pigs in a blanket. I just tried it today. It's really good.
Oh, okay,
There's a
nice.
sausage in the middle.
Ah, okay. When you said pigs in a blanket, I was thinking hot dog, but of course Lori wouldn't do hot dogs.
No. They would
That
not
sounds-
even be allowed in here, I don't think.
Yeah, that sounds amazing. Mom, I'm also curious, like, did you see this coming? Like, knowing Lori, obviously her whole life, did you think that she would ever open a place like this?
No, I didn't. It was a big surprise, but I do remember when she started out going to the farmers market in Olathe, and she had a very small start, but then she got a very big following in not too long a time. And I think she brought some of those customers here.
Yeah, that's
And
cool.
It was so fun helping her, getting up at 6 o'clock and going out.
Yeah. That's super cool. Yeah. Well, I love too that it's a real small town feel community. And I mean, you guys have that where you live too. You live in a fun place. And I love that you guys are friends. I love all the connections that you have and the fun things that you do.
Oh, yes. We live in Edelweiss in Miriam, and it's just a very small little jewel that people don't really know is there.
So don't tell anybody more.
Yeah.
Don't tell anyone else.
That's awesome.
Just
But
the way it is.
we've made so many good friends there, and it's just something going on all the time.
Yeah. There's something to be said about a small town community. So, well, you guys, thank you so much for being here. I appreciate it.
Thank you.
I loved having all my sisters and mom there, as well as Jackie. We may not get together often, but when we do, we have an absolute blast. I have one more person that I spoke with during our visit. You heard Lori talk about how much her employees mean to her, and she truly takes them under her wing. You also heard her customers mention how much they love the staff. It's all about relationships and how you treat people that will keep them coming back. I spoke with one of her employees, Seven, and I think you'll hear why they are so special to her and to the customers. Hey, Seven, thanks for being willing to be on the podcast. I'm happy that you're here. I want to know what it's like to work at Homestead and to work for my sister, Lori.
It is so fun. Every day is very exciting. There's lots of moving parts, but every day I get to work with friends, so that makes it a good day. No matter
awesome.
how busy we are. Yeah. And then my regulars, I love my regulars, especially early in the morning. They become my friends. So that is also a highlight of my day.
Yeah.
And then getting to work for Lori is pretty great. It's like having, I would say, like a work mom in a way.
Very cool.
That is how I would describe it. We have laughs at like 5 in the morning, icing donuts, and then, just all of the ins and outs of running a small business that I get to see the inside view of. So I've learned a lot, and I appreciate how much she's taught me as well. So.
Oh, that's very cool. I love to hear that. And I love that. I mean, it's a small community, and right when you walk in, it's a small community feel, and that's so awesome. Okay, so there are an amazing treats. I mean, it's just delicious. I took a little video of it, but I want to know, like, what would be your go-to treat?
Cherry turnover.
Oh, wow, you knew right away.
Every day. I do not eat one every day, but if I could, I would. They're awesome.
Okay, all right. So do you make those?
Yes.
Wow,
Yes.
okay.
Well, and Lucy and Lori, it just depends, but we all pitch in, and they're my favorite. So.
Very cool. Well, thanks, Seven.
Yeah, thank you.
All right, that's it for our third stop on the Spandex and Wine Summer Tour. If you're in the Kansas City area, you should make plans to go to Baldwin City and visit Homestead Kitchen and Bakery. You won't regret it. I'll put all the info in the show notes. A big thank you to Lori, her staff, and everyone that took the time to speak with me. Thank you for listening. If you're enjoying this podcast, be sure to follow Spandex and Wine so you don't miss an episode. To do this, just go to the podcast and click subscribe or follow wherever you are listening. Look for the plus sign or follow button. This is one of the best things that you can do for the podcast. If you'd also be willing to give a 5-star review, that would be amazing and much appreciated. Lastly, please share an episode with a friend or 5 to keep the love going, and join the Spandex and Wine community in our private Facebook group by searching Spandex and Wine. Feel free to reach out to me at any time by emailing info@spandexandwine.com or text me at 913-392-2877. I appreciate you. Thank you.